As in life, periods of relative tranquility at the Abbey were interspersed by periods of great turmoil. One of these periods is the second half of the 1340s. It started badly, with a riot by the peasants in Chiseldon, Wiltshire, a village which belonged to the Abbey. The mutiny didn't last very long, and in due course punishments were handed out. And mind you, the Abbey itself was under obligation to raise taxes for the crown. There were pressures all around, and 30 years later these all bubbled up in what was called the Peasants' Revolt, a very bloody affair and close to a revolution. What connects all these events together was the Black Death. This brutal and terrible plague arrived in England via Weymouth and soon made its way, probably up the River Itchen, to Winchester in the summer of 1348. It devastated the whole country, but Hampshire and Winchester in particular were badly affected. Our monks, who cared for the sick and dying, became infected and contracted the disease. Nearly half of our Abbey community died of the plague. Carved into stone in a local church and dated 1349 was this inscription: "Wretched, terrible, destructive year. The remnants of the people alone remain." No village, town, hamlet, or manor house was spared. It also impacted on the land holdings of Hyde Abbey, whose income virtually ceased due to the number of deaths out in the countryside. As a result of the destruction of the Abbey, it had to hand its affairs over to William Eglinton, Bishop of Winchester and Chancellor of England, to rescue the Abbey from financial ruin. Around 11,500 people lived in Winchester in the summer of 1348. In little more than 20 years, there were less than 6,000 remaining. And it would take Winchester another 500 years to regain pre-plague levels of population. This was mirrored throughout the whole country. The shortage of available labour led to rising costs of goods, higher wages, and a real fear within the nobility of England that working people had a dangerous level of influence. There was conflict all round. It was to take many years for the country as a whole, and Hyde Abbey in particular, to recover.